to the Local Government Establishment of Town Councils Commission Bill 2017, first stage. And I call on Deputy Shane Cassells to move for leave to introduce.
Thank you very much, Ceann Comhairle, and I move the Local Government Establishment of Town Councils Commission Bill. And the bill has at its aim the restoration of town councils, which had served citizens so well for over a century in this country. And the bill, as introduced, aims to set up a specifically designated commission to review the establishment and boundaries of a demographically proportional town council system. Now, at the outset, Ceann Comhairle, I think it is important to set out the motivation for the restoration of town councils, because many would ask why we would bother bringing back this level of government. And it's very simple. Because so many other ordinary people have been asking about the neglect and lack of focus for our town centres across Ireland since the town councils were done away with, and with them the special budgets for town cores, which were vaporised into thin air. And the need for a democratic system that represents people living in our towns is needed now more than ever, because we are moving towards an ever-urbanised Ireland. And debates in this chamber concerning rural Ireland are frequent, and rightly so, but there has been very few about urban Ireland. Now, when one takes account of the new National Framework Plan, which is about to come to pass, we will see higher densities and increased urbanisation, and so the requirement to have people representing these large towns is all the more pressing and critical. And at the time of the dissolution of over 80 town councils in 2014, the then Minister Phil Hogan hailed it as reform. Nothing could be further from the truth. Of course, nobody would mourn the loss of over 700 politicians from the political field, but suddenly people living in these towns found that they also lost a lot more than just councillors, as they were part of a much larger geographical electoral area under the reform system. Gone with their councillors were a host of different things: their dedicated budgets for their towns, in many cases over €10 million per annum, their statutory powers in respect of their town centres gone, the power to set their own rates for their town gone, and now this year small businesses across this country are seeing their rates increased above and beyond normal rates because of the part of equalisation, and the special focus on urban space gone. So in the 3 years since the abolition of town councils, people have now realised what a crucial role these bodies actually played in developing life in the urban spaces of Ireland. And I, Ceann Comhairle, unashamedly have a huge passion for local government system in this country, having spent 17 years in it, serving at both town and county level, indeed alongside the Government Chief Whip on our time as Meath County Council as well. And I understand the value of having a very strong town council structure that can look after the many urban areas in our country and the unique challenges and requirements for the people living in our towns. During my own time on both councils, I can recall when our county council was mired in debt, but our town council was actually running a surplus, and so we were able to go and raise our own finance to do things like the arts centre, parks, enhanced urban spaces. We did not have a situation where we were going to elected members from other electoral areas to sanction finance for what was needed in our town for our people. Across the rest of Europe, they embraced the local government system. In the United Kingdom, there are efforts being underway to try and reinvigorate this very local layer of government. But in this country, instead of embracing it, we squeeze the life out of it, and then we mock its corpse by calling it reform, as we continue the drive towards centralisation. And despite the constitutional guarantees that buttress local authorities in Ireland, it remains susceptible to the legislative reforms from central government. The perceived control that central government has over the local level was the focus of a report from the Council of Europe in 2013, which highlighted the need for greater protection for the subsidiarity principle in relation to local government. And in addition to the structural changes implemented in the Local Government Reform Act, it also did very little to reverse the overarching power that central government has with regards to the policy framework for local government. So, as outlined earlier, the bill as introduced aims to set up a specifically designated commission to review the establishment and boundaries of a demographically proportional town council system. The Commission will also be tasked with setting out the proposed functions, responsibilities and rating powers of a town council and their composition and size, and the Commission will be required to report to the Minister within 6 months of its establishment. This bill is designed to set up a new town council system on a fair and equitable basis across Ireland in time for the 2019 local elections. It will help to empower communities in our towns to take control of their local areas. It will ensure the new structure recognises that major population shifts in Ireland are happening and put forward a new range of powers for a tier of governance closest to our citizens. This is a measure that will help give power back to local communities at a time when more and more are becoming concerned that people feel alienated, feel removed from the decision-making process that affects them. Thank you, Ceann Comhairle.
Thank you very much. Is the bill being opposed? It's not being opposed. Motion for leave to introduce is agreed. Therefore, can I ask Deputy Cassells to move that the second stage be taken in private members' time?
I move.
Is that agreed? Agreed. Thank you very much. We move on now.